So, Mom, tell me,
Justin. Yeah.
what did you think about The Last of Us Episode 3, Long, Long Time?
Loved it. Is that all?
That's it. See you. All right. It's been fun.
Bye
It's
bye
been
now.
real. It's the shortest YouTube review of all time.
Yeah, but we keep it concise around here because we're
Hmm.
super known for being concise.
Yeah, and
Uh,
short and not
yeah.
long-winded, and
Yeah.
don't
None of those
just
things.
recap an episode that may only last 20 minutes, but we recap it for 45.
Exactly.
We've been shorter than every episode of The Last of Us, which I'll be honest, makes me very proud that we've gotten
Yeah.
that far over the
Yes.
course of our
We've
YouTube
grown.
careers. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
we've grown. And the good thing is tonight's episode or this week's episode was what, a minute? I
A
mean, an hour
minute,
and
yeah.
20?
I mean, well, you were
An
trying.
hour and
That's why.
20?
That's why you were trying to recap it so shortly because you're like, well, it was only a minute. We've got to be shorter than a minute.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was an. I think it was an hour and 22 minutes or
Yeah.
somewhere right around that length. So you
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah, I did. I mean, now I when we dissect it, I will have certain things that I did not love as much,
Oh, I mean,
but
I'm with you. I absolutely love this episode. I thought it was a fantastic piece of TV.
mhm,
I I think I went into it with a little bit of unrealistic expectations because all of the people that I follow on Twitter they were all saying this is the greatest episode of television in years, maybe the greatest
mhm,
episode of television in the last
ever
decade.
ever recorded.
Yeah, and so I bought into the hype. I was like, "Oh my
Hmm.
god, I cannot wait to see what they do with episode 3." And I was like, "It's going to be the most amazing episode of TV of all time." Uh, I'm not going to say that it wasn't up there with some of the best episodes of TV that I've watched for sure,
Yeah.
but it depends on what you were looking to get out of this episode, whether or not you thought it was going to be like the greatest episode of all time. If you're a Last of Us fan of the video game, you may have
Freak
gone into
like
this, yeah,
we are.
like we are. You may have gone into this episode thinking, "Oh my god, I'm gonna get like the just crazy ass action from episode 3," because in this section of the game, you do fight a lot of
Yeah.
infected, a lot of you encounter
So
multiple
much stuff.
clickers. Don't you encounter a bloater?
Bloater in
Yeah,
the high school. We
yeah.
got no bloaters.
Yes, we got no bloaters, and now you're making me remember like quite a bit of the changes from
Yeah.
this week's episode to the video game.
I mean, when they go over to the is I think it's a school
Yeah, it's a school. Yeah,
before
because
be, I guess before they
yes,
go in to the high
yes,
school, but they've got all the buses outside
mm-hmm,
and they have to fight just hordes of infected. I mean, it's insanely scary.
yeah,
And you know, that wasn't there. The whole going through the town as Ellie and Joel, they discover so many things about each other
yeah,
as they are walking through this town, holding conversations, opening up saves, getting the bow and arrow, which
mhm,
we did not get.
no.
Um, so I I know I can't be that way,
Why not?
but
Why can't you be that way? Yeah, I
but
mean,
I mean, I loved that we got the backstory,
yeah.
and that we got to meet Frank. That was super cool, and we learned things about Bill that I never would have thought about him. That he actually couldn't cook,
Uh,
and that he can play a piano. Lord knows, I never thought that he could do that.
no,
Um,
I definitely want to be
so
invited over to Bill's house for some food because
the
wow,
garden party looked like fun.
yeah, it looked like a lot of fun.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, for me, I absolutely love this episode. I liked it. I liked it more the way that they told the story this way than I did in the video game. So I'm on the
Oh yeah,
other side of the fence of where I'm like, oh, I
yeah.
mean, to me, this episode still was like a 10 out of 10 for me. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, no, no,
it
no,
was. It was super super good.
yeah, it was fantastic. The the meeting of Frank, getting more
Hmm.
of the backstory between Frank and Bill. If you didn't play the video game, in the video game, uh, Frank is just kind of a footnote. You run into Frank's dead body hanging from the ceiling, and Bill mentions to you in the conversation with you and Joel, that was my partner.
Hmm.
He doesn't necessarily like come straight out, I mean, and say that they were together, because the way that you read Bill in the video game is he's very similar to the Bill in the show. He's very gruff. He's all about survival. You know, he's got his traps, and he's kind of a little bit out off of his rocker. Uh,
Hmm.
but you wouldn't think of him as somebody that is building relationships with people, because he's such an asshole
Yeah.
to everybody in
Right.
the game. So you're like, this person could never be lovable by
Right.
any other human being. He would definitely be that person that's got, like, they're the cat person or the dog person, but no
Yeah.
human
No
connection.
humans. Yeah.
Yeah, not at all. So obviously very different. You did not see Frank or Bill in the game together whatsoever, and you got a singular note from Frank to Bill. Basically, Frank saying, like, I've had enough of your shit. I
Yeah.
can't keep just being holed up in this little town of yours. I want to be out, and I got to see the world. Meet new people, do new things.
Well, now to be fair,
Yeah.
he did. I think he was bit, so he made the choice to kill himself, not just because
Well,
of Bill.
no, well, no. Yes, he didn't kill himself because of Bill, but it's like
He
he got
he was.
bit on the way
Yeah.
out. Like he had already said, deuces to Bill.
Yeah.
And I have to say, like, going back and seeing that note, I'm just like, damn, who wrote this part of the
I
game?
know.
Because I'm like, somebody's
It was just
bitter.
mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the
It
main.
was so ugly. I'm dying, and I freaking hate your guts.
Yeah,
You're an
exactly.
asshole.
Yeah, I was
Mhm.
just like, man, I was like, I don't quite remember their connection being so bitter and harsh. So yeah, for me, I loved the isolated, bottle episode,
Yeah.
as you will. Like, I thought it was really cool. I agree with you. There was so many things that we lost as a result of taking the story in this direction. But
Hmm.
I ultimately, like, listening to the episode recaps with Troy Baker, Craig Mazin, and Neil Druckmann, I completely agree with the reason why they went this way. Because at the end of the day, like, what we lost from the video game by doing it this way in the TV show was not much.
Right.
If really anything, I mean, yes, you lost some really cool action sequences, and yes, you
A
did.
lot of action.
You got to see Joel and Ellie's dynamic shift a little bit more. But I thought the way that they opened the episode did such a great job of, even though that was only like the 15 minutes opening, and then we got obviously a little bit at the end.
Right.
I thought it was enough to where it's just like you can
You
see
can
like
see that
the wall.
growing.
Yeah, the walls are coming down a
Hmm.
little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Because Ellie is sitting with her back against a tree with
mhm,
Joel's jacket over her knees.
mhm, yeah,
So you can see he's starting in that caretaking role, and he
yeah.
does throw her some food, which, I mean, okay, you know that's not super caring. It's not like he walked over and gave it to her. He chunked
He,
her some food.
he definitely. I was like, that's a little bit hard there, Joel. I
Yeah,
mean, you, you,
yeah,
you you're trying to eat it, not like lose it, because he
yeah.
definitely threw it so hard. Um, yeah, going into that part a little bit, as I know we're jumping around. In the opening, that was one of the things I really liked. Was, we see Joel putting these rocks together, obviously for like a makeshift memorial burial
Hmm.
for Tess, because that we just left off
Yeah,
in
that
that,
just happened.
yeah, in that crazy ending of episode 2. But I love that Ellie was like, nobody told y'all that y'all had to do this. Y'all
Yeah,
made the decision, and now,
and
like, don't blame me for y'all's
right.
bad decisions.
And good for her. Don't try to put your guilt and point the finger at
Hmm.
me. Don't be shitty to me because it's not my fault and it's not her fault.
No.
I mean, it wasn't. She was barely. She's goods, smuggled goods. That's
Yeah.
all she. And so she had no choice in it. So,
No, it wasn't
uh,
like she signed up for Joel and Tess. She was
yeah,
signed up for Joel and Tess by Marlene.
right.
Yeah, no, I thought that was a really uh, nice little scene between the two of them, and the fact that like Joel didn't. It wasn't like he got angry or anything. Joel is very stoic when it comes to like
Yes.
his beliefs, his mannerisms. He definitely that
Yeah.
very
Yep.
very level. Doesn't seem like he has any highs. Definitely does not seem like he has any lows either, though,
No.
which is really interesting to see. So, and then the only thing I really didn't like about the episode was the segment where they went into the shop, in which I get it, like that was a part of the game where they're kind of like
Oh,
just scavenging and stuff like that. Um, but I just didn't. I don't know where they're going with this whole Ellie stabbing the infected and like
yeah,
her obsession with.
why are we making her creepy?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't get that. That's the out of everything
Um,
on the show. That's the thing I have definitely. I'm just like,
yeah,
mm,
they keep doing little weird things with her, like when she's watching Joel beat that guy up.
yeah, mm-hmm,
So you have to interpret it in the way of, okay, well, it's because she's never had a parent or somebody that took really great care of her. So,
yeah,
so that's the way I was looking at it. But it was creepy as hell the way she looked at him.
yes,
And then, her just being so cruel as this poor infected thing that is, she never tortured him in the game. And
no,
to me, that's what that was torture. It was just weird.
yeah.
Um,
I didn't quite
I don't
understand that.
know.
That was like getting the magnifying glass and putting it over the ants or something
Ants.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure they have some reason that they're doing this, or there's some direction that they're ultimately taking us. I mean,
Maybe, but are they building a fondness for Ellie with the audience when they do that?
no, and especially to your point about because I mean I don't want to paraphrase for you or speak for you, but I think that you weren't super thrilled with all of the scenes that were taken away from us in Billstown from the game to the TV show, and there was a lot of those scenes where you do start to like Ellie and Joel start to grow on you even more. The banter that they
Mm-hmm.
have back and forth. I mean, you see Ellie have to try and basically save Joel. Whenever Joel gets caught in one of Bill's
Mm-hmm.
traps, and you're hanging upside
He's hanging
down,
upside down.
and you're
Hmm.
trying to
And
shoot
there's
him.
all these infected that are coming.
Yeah. Oh.
And so, yeah, I mean, that was the most terrifying, I think, part in the whole game for me.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the scariest moments for sure. Um, but yeah, and yeah, there was just all these nice little touching moments between the two of them on their trip to meet
Hmm.
up with Bill that you don't or you didn't get in the TV show. And yeah, I'm wondering for TV show viewers only, what is their connection like to Joel and Ellie so far?
Yeah,
Because they haven't gotten as much at this stage of the story as we did from
right.
playing the game.
Because by this point, I think we were pretty much in love with both characters.
I think so. Because there was so much back and forth, like as you're walking with Joel, Tess, and Ellie, because she was so inquisitive,
Yes.
and she's
And
in she's like creepy inquisitive now.
yes, she is inquisitive,
Yeah.
but it's got such an edge.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's She reminds me a lot more of Ellie in part two.
Yes, and I I think maybe that's what they're attempting to do, because it was so jarring
It was
from episode 1 to episode 2, or part 1 to part 2. Um,
in the video game.
yeah, in the video game. And like why that is.
Hmm.
But even then, I feel like it was still like such a far leap for Ellie's character to make from part 1. So maybe that's what they're trying to do, is just like, hey, that doesn't work so well in a TV show, because you're like, this is going completely against that character's personality traits and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. But
I don't know either, but
yeah.
I need them to warm her up just a tad.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the only negative so far, for me at least.
Yeah.
So if you had to say, which version do you like more? What we just got in episode 3 in the TV show, or what we got from the Billstown journey in the game?
Liked the game better.
Oh, okay. All
I
right.
mean, I as a TV show,
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed this thoroughly. I did. It was a great episode. The episode was so good,
Yeah.
but it felt like it had nothing to do with it didn't have anything to do with Joel and Ellie's story.
Yeah, I do think that that's it's obviously like a very valid criticism, because that's the whole story. It's Joel and Ellie's story, and we have only gotten 2 episodes with them, and not full 2 episodes
Right.
together. And then you throw this episode in there, and it's just like, okay, we're just gonna leave them and move on from their story for the almost the entirety of the episode.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, at the end of the day, it's kind of, it works both ways, because I don't think that they lost anything in terms of like the overall story by having by sharing like Frank and Bill's little like life together in this one episode. You don't lose anything from the game, because Bill pretty much sayonara to Bill once they get the truck in the video game. I think he gets like a brief mention in part 2, where I think it was Dina says something about it's really weird that one guy has this whole like a whole town to himself, but you really don't know what
Yeah.
happens with Bill after that section of the game. So like him dying in the TV show the way that he did, you don't lose. There's not like a big moment
Right.
later on in the
Right.
game.
Yeah. No,
Um,
it doesn't change the story going forward
no,
at all.
no, but also it's like, so you didn't lose anything in that respect, um, to like the overall game story. But it's like, did you I had this thought in my head, but did you gain any more from not, like, how much did you lose, I guess, in terms of like
We
everything
didn't lose
else?
anything, but what did we gain?
Yes.
I mean, we did gain a lovely episode,
Yeah.
and but we gained a lot of backstory for two people that that's it for them. We're
That's true.
done.
That's what I meant. That's what I was going for. Is like, yeah,
I
what did
read your mind.
thank you. In my mind. Because yeah, it's like yeah, in the game you gained a lot of
Yes.
like building that relationship
Mhm.
between Joel and
Which is
Ellie.
what this whole thing is about.
Yeah. I mean, obviously
So
I think we'll have to see. Like, it remains to be seen
yeah,
if we get into episode 4, and as like the director and writer, they try to take us to a level of Joel and Ellie's relationship that the viewer's not actually caught up to speed just yet, because that's the hard part, right? Because Craig Mazin is obviously like a ginormous fan of the game
hmm
itself. Neil Druckmann, co-wrote the game, so in their mind, they already have these like insane relationships with Joel and Ellie, and for them, they're like, well, we can throw this full episode in there about Bill and Frank that will have no ramifications or bearing on the rest of the show, um, because we already know that they've got this
because
great relationship.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
So
so that's my question. And I mean, because I can't view this as somebody that doesn't know everything,
mhm.
and and so I am so curious what people that that are that are watching this that don't know the whole story, how they feel about it.
I mean, all I can say, from my viewing experience, because I'm
Hmm.
watching every Sunday night with my wife, is that she is absolutely loving the show. Um,
Okay.
and but I haven't asked her specifically about Joel and Ellie,
Yeah,
and I'll
because
have
I'd
to,
be really, really curious
yeah,
how she feels about them.
I'll have to ask her that, because we just look at it from episode to episode, like, oh,
Hmm.
how much did you love this episode? How much did
Yeah.
you, like, did you like it or did you
Yeah.
not like
How
it?
do you feel about them is what I
Yes.
want to know.
Yeah. All right.
Do you love them? Do you feel like they're sympathetic? Or do you feel like this little girl is some kind of weirdo?
yeah. I Obviously all the reviews from critics, it's just like rave reviews. Which again, I agree. Like
Oh, oh, me too.
it was
Everybody I know loves it.
yeah, it was such a moving episode. I mean, just getting to see these two characters' story.
Find each other.
Yeah, find each other in
Is
the
the
apocalypse.
most, yeah, the most insane way. I mean, good God, if I could catch a Frank, I'd put traps in my backyard.
No, nobody's
Frank
coming
is
in to get
hot.
my Frank.
Frank is hot.
Oh well, unfortunately, Mom, he does
Oh,
not
no, he
play
doesn't
for
play
your
for my
team.
team.
Yeah, he does
He
not
does
play for
not
your
play for
team.
my team. Doesn't matter. He still seemed like he's a really cool dude.
He
So
does seem like a really cool guy for sure. And I've heard so many things about White Lotus, and apparently he's on season 1 of White Lotus.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I've got to get around to watching White Lotus, because I was not familiar with this actor.
yeah,
Bartlett, I think is his name. But yeah, I'm immediately, yeah, I want to go find more stuff that he's in,
yeah.
because yeah, he was just fantastic. By the way, little thing that I think this is right, but you correct me. Is Joel wearing Frank's shirt?
He is.
And that's the shirt from the game.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's funny because when I first saw it on Frank, I didn't think,
Mm.
ah, there's Joel's shirt. I just thought, oh, he looks very nice in that shirt. You know, they're having an argument in the middle of the street, and thank God none of the neighbors are around. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
so,
The little things that you don't think about, like you can have full blown fights in the
yep,
street with your
in the
significant
street,
other, and no,
doesn't matter.
you're not going to be embarrassed about it the next day. Everybody's like, oh,
Um, yeah. Oh, you know us.
oh, Bill and
It's
Frank are at
normal.
it
Yeah,
again. Yeah, I
exactly.
did love that, like the difference in terms of when they meet. He's in the ditch, and then they're just having this like kind of banter back and forth of, because Bill's like, get the hell out of here,
Hmm.
and
Austin is that way.
yeah, exactly. Shh, keep it moving.
Hmm.
And they have this nice dinner together, and then it moves to Bill and Frank, having this very intimate moment, and then as soon as that intimate moment happens, boom, they're yelling at each other in the street
Yeah,
like 3 years later. Like,
yeah.
oh, that was great.
I did. I mean, I loved the whole idea of, us getting this glimpse of this couple's
Yeah.
life that seems so normal
Mm-hmm.
in a very abnormal situation.
Yeah.
They're in a fenced in town, and there's traps and bombs and crap everywhere, but they're
Flamethrower
still,
like
yeah,
pipes.
and there's still arguing about the paint on the side of the house. I just thought, oh my God, that is perfect.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
I mean, that's I wrote my notes, it's like, you have to live your life. It's not all just about survival.
yeah. And
And
it would have been for Bill.
yes, it would have been for Bill. I mean, the opening portion of Bill's backstory, you know, whenever he's
He was
just,
so damn excited by
yeah,
it.
yeah, he was like, I am loving this.
Yeah.
Just
I
going,
mean,
doing all his
he's
shopping.
like watching them drive off with all of his neighbors,
Yeah.
and he's, basically, doing a
Yes.
jig on the way out
Yeah.
as he, goes to the Home Depot, and I thought it was great.
Well, he's eating
Um,
dinner, watching, the infected run through his traps,
yep,
blowing their brains out.
you know, super live entertainment.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, hey, you gotta work with what you got
I
in
thought
the
it was
apocalypse.
interesting. What a Renaissance man he
Oh,
was.
good lord.
All the stuff that he was able to build.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, that looked like beef that he butchered, and just I mean, he was, yeah, he was. I want to run into a bill.
Well, I mean, yes, we all need a bill. Speaking of
Hmm.
that, so um, I wanted to ask you, so we got the lovely Nick Offerman.
I love Nick Offerman
Oh,
so much.
he's so great. You need to go if you love not Nick Offerman. I can't speak, but if you love him, there is a podcast episode with him and Justin Long on Justin Long's podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, Justin Long.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's great. Um, and Nick Offerman is like the real life Renaissance man.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I could,
he's
I
fantastic.
felt like he could have easily, that could have been his life,
Mm-hmm.
that they were taking those shots from.
100%. I can't remember exactly. I think he's from Missouri or like, or
Oh,
maybe it's Illinois. It's either Missouri or Illinois, but he lived out in the country. So
okay.
he grew up on a farm and did. And, I mean, this is Nick Offerman, not Bill. I'm sure Bill
Hmm.
probably did the same
Hmm.
before he moved in, because I think that was his mom's house that he was living in.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, to me, I thought perfect casting. I loved seeing Nick Offerman in this role.
Hmm.
I now granted, it is interesting because the with the part one remake, as I'm showing these two images, the side by sides of Bill from the game and Bill from the TV show. That guy's in a ton of stuff. I mean, he's a fantastic character actor on a lot of TV shows. The guy from the game. I am
Really?
Yeah, I'm not remembering what his name is. If here, I'll look it up while we're
Oh, I could.
chatting.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been in like tons and tons of stuff. Now that's not the same Bill, I don't think. From it may have been the same voice actor, but they in the Last of Us Part One remake, the one that just came out
Yeah.
in 2022, they definitely obviously they're like, well, we should just model him after the dude, you know. Um, let
Yeah.
me see real quick.
Yeah. That it's so interesting how much the characters in the video game changed. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
when they did the remake and reboot and
Yeah, because they definitely made Joel look
upgrade.
way older.
Yes, which I thought was really interesting on the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
He immediately, during the time jump on the TV show,
Mm-hmm.
he looks older.
Yeah, he does. He does.
So
He does look much older. I mean,
yeah.
he's 56 in the show. So, I
Hmm.
mean, W. Earl Brown
Mm.
plays Bill in the video game. He was in. Yeah, I mean, if you look him up on IMDb, he's been in tons of stuff. He was.
Mm.
I most remember him, I think, from Deadwood, but I mean, he's been in tons and tons of TV shows and movies.
So
So
it's super interesting when you think about stuff like that. Why they didn't? I mean,
cast
because we've
him.
had one. Yeah,
Yeah,
we've had one character that that was in the game
yeah, and it's
that made
weird,
it
but
to the TV show.
and she didn't. I mean, and she's not in a lot of TV shows and stuff. So I think she does more like voice acting work than she
Mm.
does like actual,
Yeah,
on
and so this
screen.
guy you're saying isn't
Yeah, he's
normally an on-screen actor.
yeah. I don't
Mm,
think he does that much voice acting.
mm.
Yeah, so it's very interesting, but I love the crap out of Nick
Oh,
Offerman's
yeah.
portrayal of Bill. Such a treat. I was
Yeah.
going. I didn't finish the second viewing of the episode, but as I'm going back, I'm just like, oh my god, I love him and Frank so much. The
Yeah.
strawberry scene where he just giggles.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, speaking of,
yeah.
I mean, we can jump ahead to favorite scenes.
Oh, go for it. Hit me with all
Yeah,
your favorite scenes.
that was my favorite scene.
Oh, overall.
Yeah. I mean, I just liked it so much. I just liked how when they break out into that giggle,
Mm-hmm.
again, you're talking about in the middle of an apocalypse and
Yeah.
you got that electrified fence all around you and you're giggling about strawberries and the fact that Frank traded a whole gun
Yeah. Oh, God.
for a packet of strawberries. I'm like, ooh, it's a small one,
Yeah.
but still,
Not even the strawberries themselves, just the seeds.
the seeds,
Which
that's it, a packet.
the seeds are more important. But
Yes.
I did like the fact that, um, you know, immediately Bill's like super jazzed about it. But then whenever he hears Frank trading a gun, he was like, "Which gun?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably got all of them named, you
Oh,
know?
he is. Frank. I mean, yeah. Bill was doing it right. I mean,
Oh my
good lord.
gosh.
He had quite the setup. I mean, the town, his his ammo, that amount of ammo that he had, his weapon amount of weapons.
His bunker or
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was insane. You lift up this little chest and suddenly you go down into,
Mm,
ammo central. I thought that was pretty spectacular. I mean, he'd been planning for a long time.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, he definitely he was smart about it. I think that's why he was so happy to see everybody go, because he's like,
yes.
I'm about to go get all of the goodies, all the
Yep.
food,
And I
everything.
never have to talk to any of these people ever again.
That was his favorite part,
Yep.
most definitely.
So, what was your favorite scene?
I think I had two favorite scenes. Um, my first favorite scene was the lunch between.
Oh
Well,
God.
actually, I could
That
go on
was
and on.
that was
There were so
yeah.
many different favorite scenes, but I did love the lunch scene when Frank invites Joel and Tess over for lunch, and Bill was so against it. He was so annoyed that he was
I mean, they are
inviting people.
having a garden party.
Yes,
I
and
loved that.
oh, it was great. And what one of the things I loved about it most was, because Bill, I'm a survivalist, not a prepper. I'm a
Right.
survivalist, and I really enjoyed the fact that he did not like Joel whatsoever. He was just
Mhm.
like, screw this guy, get out of here. I don't need your help. But I love how Joel, again, very level headed, doesn't get mad. He's got the most mad I think we saw him get was he was like, and get that gun out of my face.
Yeah.
But here he is, he's just dropping facts on Bill about his fence and how his
Yeah.
fence has got maybe a year left on it. And you can see like Bill's face of like, fuck this guy, he's
Yeah.
right.
Exactly.
you know and I really liked that part. And then obviously, like, whenever you come a little bit later, or later in the episode, and those raiders do come, like Joel said that they would do. And I love whenever Bill's laid up on the table, and Frank is trying to like administer first aid, trying to get the bullet out and all this kind of stuff. And the difference that you could see, like, where here was this man Joel that Bill definitely did not want to see him around ever again. And the
Don't
first,
come to my house for a party again.
yeah, no more parties for you, Joel. But the first person, he's just like, call Joel,
Hmm.
because he knows what kind of person Joel is
And then
as a
he would
protector.
yeah, he'd take care of Frank.
Yeah, and I love that. And then I mean, again, there were so many touching scenes with Bill and Frank, and just them getting older together. but I think my it's a toss up between their last moments together. Whenever Frank, you know, tells Bill to just give him one more good day.
Yeah.
We in our house, we have on our kitchen on our fridge, um, and it just says like just have one good day. And so that's something, you know, my wife and I, you know, things happen, we, you know, you get down and all that kind of stuff, but it's just like all you got to worry
Yep.
about is just have one good day.
Yep. Hmm.
And so I love that whole exchange, that whole scene with Frank and Bill. You know, Frank deciding like today this is it. I can't do this anymore. Plus that was super sad. Like seeing that difference between, you know, Frank
It's painting.
is just like running laps around Bill, and then just
Yeah.
years later he's in a wheelchair. You know, he has this
Hmm.
debilitating disease. Um, and yeah, so I really loved that. I thought it was really like really beautiful, their last moments together, getting, you know, getting married and getting all dressed
Yeah.
up, having the dinner
Yeah.
that was the same exact
Same
dinner.
dinner,
Yeah, I thought that
prepared the
was
same with the same wine. I mean,
yes,
it was super sweet.
yeah,
Um, you know, when Frank tells him that, you know, that he doesn't agree with him doing this, doesn't, you know, that he's going out with him,
yeah.
that, you know, they're both last day,
Hmm.
uh, but that he thought it was very romantic. And then they laughed, and I thought that was awesome. So
Yeah,
it
no.
was, I mean, it was, they went out on their own terms.
Hmm.
I don't think there's really anything wrong with that.
No, I mean, what I think it was Craig Mazin said in their recap podcast is like they won. You
Yeah.
know, Bill and Frank won in this
Hmm.
terrible,
Oh,
you know, shitty world.
and they probably, I mean, is there anyone else
Winning?
that is winning like that? Yeah. Okay.
No.
And if you found that note and he says, you know, take whatever you want in the note, you know,
Yeah.
to Joel, wouldn't you just move in?
I I think at that point I'm like, you know, I'm just gonna take my time waiting on Tommy to hit me up on the radio again.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't think
As
I would be leaving.
mm-mm,
They had
it's
a
a sweet setup.
yeah, they had a pretty nice setup. It wasn't it the difference though, and that's what's so crazy about as we get older, you know, like you could definitely tell that once Frank, you know, his disease started taking over, because he was the nurturer of the relationship
Yeah.
and the nurturer of like their home and their
Yes.
environment. It,
The house started looking poopy.
yeah, Bill was doing his best, but you know, he that's not what his gift is. So
No. Yeah. He
um,
didn't care about that stuff.
no, no, not at all. I, one of the things I wrote down and I was like the themes of good post-apocalyptic stories.
Yeah.
That one was like you have to live your life. It's not all just about survival, because I think so many viewers of like post-apocalyptic stories, they get caught up in like we want to see crazy zombie action
Right.
or whatever. But I think it is about those like little moments of we would just want to at the end of the day we want to just keep on living. You know, whatever our normal lives are. If you love reading books, you're probably still gonna want to read a
Yeah.
book in the, you know, the zombie
I'm
apocalypse.
not carrying my butt to work though.
Yeah, that's true. That is nice. You can read all the books you want, as
Exactly.
long as you make some food on the side. You know, the other theme is what are you surviving for, and obviously this episode was so much about showing, you know, somebody that didn't want anyone in his life, but he through Frank, Bill found like what he's actually surviving for
Hmm.
in this world. And then the other one was especially related to The Last of Us and Joel, is what happens when you lose someone you love with a lot of life left in front of you. You know, and what does that do to you? And like obviously Joel losing Sarah in his, I guess he was in his mid 30s. That did a lot to him. And
Hmm.
that's why the Joel that we see today is definitely um, not the nicest of
No,
people.
I mean
So
he was just funny and warm, and
hmm
I mean he was a cool dude,
he
and
was.
it took away. He's alive, but took all the life out of it.
Yes, he's alive, but without the actual life.
Hmm.
Well, cool. I mean, I thought this was a fantastic episode. Like, I can definitely see why, if you played the video game, why there would be like some heartburn over all these changes. Um, but I hope in next week's episode, yeah, we're gonna get back to Ellie and Joel, and we're gonna start seeing them like create that bond, deeper
Yeah,
bond. We're gonna see them take on crazy stuff with the infected. So I really like the fact that we got one. I love Nick Offerman, so I'm like, heck
yeah, me
yeah, we
too.
got a whole episode
Yeah.
with Nick Offerman, um, and we did get to see Tess again, which was really cool.
Ah,
That didn't happen in the game.
no,
Um,
and it was awesome. I love the flashbacks. I mean,
yes, I hope we
she
get
looked so
more.
good, and she looked happy, and
Man,
looked
shit
good.
went downhill
Yeah, she
in
looked.
those years because Tess was,
She was looking rough.
yeah, not. I mean, I know she got beat down and she was looking
Yeah,
rough because of that, but
yeah.
she was just looking rough overall.
Hmm.
Well, cool. Well, I don't think I have anything else more to say. Oh, I wanted to ask one question for you because if you're watching this and you didn't know, my mom is a world famous DJ. Um, did you immediately recognize the Linda Ronstadt song?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay, I was like, I bet my mom knew that song
Yep.
immediately and who it
I've
was
been
and
singing
everything.
it all day.
Well, Linda Ronstadt's
Um,
like blowing up, like a 4,000, like 4,900% increase in Spotify plays or something like that.
okay. Just look her up because she she was everything in the 70s.
Yeah. Oh,
Everything.
mm-hmm.
And my sister used to listen to her a lot. My big sister. And so that's you know, I grew up
With
listening to her.
well, I the fact that Craig Mazin, he said that he wanted a song that embodied permanent and lonely, heartache, and lifelong loss.
Oh,
I was like, damn.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just listening to the lyrics, I listening like watching the episode again and like cueing in to
Yeah.
as Bill is singing the song on the piano. I
It
was like,
it
damn.
was really nice that that was what was on the tape compared to in the video game, that whiny terrible song that we had, that Ellie.
Mm,
I mean, it was like it was some super hillbilly kind
I
of tune.
I'll have to go. I don't remember that one, but I'll have to go back and check it out.
Yeah, this was a much better song.
Yes, no, I agree. I agree. All right. Well, I don't think I had anything else to say. Uh, I wanted to share these real quick, and then we'll end the episode. So
Okay.
let me scroll over here. Um, Thanks to
Oh,
IGN, they
yeah.
had a very nice little TV show versus game comparison, and I just wanted to share these before we ended,
Yeah.
because this is definitely different.
Yes.
In the video game, the game is not Mortal Kombat, so they definitely got some license to use
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat. It was the turning, I believe, is what it was in the game. But I thought that was a nice little
Yeah.
nod.
From what I understand, HBO is owned by.
They are Warner
Yeah.
Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So you can get that Mortal Kombat in there as opposed to the
Yes.
turning.
Yes. The turning. Is it turning? The turning really a video game, or was that just a
No,
video game? Video game.
it was a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, like it was a little bit too meta, if you will, because it's like the turning, and you're in a
Yes.
game about
Hmm.
the people turning. I was just like,
Yeah.
that's a little on the nose. Um, yeah. So there is there's the turning right there. Ellie's
And
wanting to get down on it.
in the video game,
Mm-hmm.
Joel comes over and has a very warm conversation with her about it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's much sweeter
Oh,
in the game.
Joel, both characters, they've made Ellie out have this weird creepy vibe, and
Hmm.
Joel is much more of an asshole and like
Yeah,
much more hardened than he was
yeah,
in the game. He opened up much quicker in
yeah.
the video game. So, and here's of course our lovely Nick Offerman
Which I
playing
love.
Bill,
Hmm.
and there's the shot of him from the
Yeah.
game with his gas mask on. And here is here is
Oh, the infected getting.
yeah, the traps,
Hmm.
great trap. And then in the game, his traps in the game that he had all lined up where the clickers would explode or the infected would explode if they
Or
walked into
you,
it. Yes,
if you walk
or
into
you if you did not crouch or did not blow it up beforehand.
if you didn't pick up a brick and throw it at it, yeah,
Yeah, you were gonna get
you're a
explodey.
goner.
Here's Ellie in her t-shirt.
Oh, in her shirt,
Yeah,
yes.
from the game. And there's Joel in Frank's t-shirt, which I also have this same exact shirt, and I'm pretty sure it's from Target. Um, but I do have that same exact shirt. I may have to wear it,
Nice.
next
Yeah,
week.
you should next week when we record, you should definitely wear it.
Yeah. Yeah. See, it's a little bit different of a shirt, maybe just a
Well,
little bit more dingy.
I think it's yeah, it's much dingier.
Yeah,
So you
I
have to
think so.
really stretch to figure out that that's
Yeah,
supposed to be the same
the
shirt.
same shirt. But look at
Hmm.
these laughs.
I know that's some happiness.
I feel like this is like somebody.
Somebody did because they
Yeah.
don't laugh like that in the
No,
game.
no, there's no laughs like that in the game. That is definitely
But
somebody took like the photo mode and put
uh-huh,
smiling happy faces on them.
yeah.
And then here's the letter. I love this. To who I think it says whomever, but probably Joel. Yeah, that was great. And then of course this mean ass letter that Frank wrote to Bill. You
Does it
know,
say good luck, Frank, on the bottom?
well, yeah, good luck, Frank. It says still better than spending time or no, spending another day with you.
Oh,
I
it
mean,
was. I remembered it was really ugly.
yeah, I was like, damn, Frank, you didn't have to go that hard on that letter. There's the shitty S10 truck that they take from Bill and Frank, and there's
Just
pretty
even shittier.
yeah, even shittier, definitely. I mean, it's got some dents and definitely
Hmm.
dirty. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
the S10 from the show. I mean, look at it, looking.
Yeah, I mean it was underneath the cover
Yeah,
in the show. It was nice.
they look like that S10 looks like it just got out of like the what do you go take it to the people that clean it up? What are they
Clean
called?
it,
No,
car wash.
it's not the car wash. It's the really
The
fancy
detailers.
the detailers. Yeah, it looks like it just came out
Yeah,
of the detailers. So, well, Mom, it was fun.
it was fun.
Um,
Bye.